Whatever happens today, the weather will not be at fault. It is a spectacular day in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Temperatures in the mid-70s. A light wind, and the forecast is for mostly sun. The Philadelphia Eagles have won the toss, and they will receive. John Harbaugh, once a member of this Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff, now in his 5th season as the Baltimore Ravens head coach, and he has already made his mark with the Ravens.
Yes, he has, Greg. And Andy Reid on the other side for the Eagles. I suspect that they're winning the toss, and allowing his offense to go out on the field to start this game is just fine with him, because I think he would like to get Michael Vick back in a groove as quickly and as efficiently as possible after the debacle last week.
The 2011 season was a total disappointment for these Eagles, who went 8-8 and finished in a second-place tie in the NFC East.
The good news for the Eagles is you could call it a debacle, but also you can call it a W. They're 1-0. Not every day you can turn in a performance like their offense did in Cleveland and still come out of it with a victory, and that's what they did.
You saw number 22, Brandon Boykin. He is deep for the Eagles. Set to receive the kickoff, a packed house as usual here at Lincoln Financial in Philadelphia. And we're underway. Boykin will not get a chance to return this one, and the Eagles will start from their own 20-yard line. At quarterback, Michael Vick, looking to improve on a Week 1 performance that wasn't great. 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He threw the ball 56 times in the 1-point win over Cleveland, and you get the impression, Dan, Andy Reid would not like him to throw it that much today.
Now Andy did say, now keep in mind, we ran nearly 90 offensive plays, so we were still in that basic 60-40 range past the run. Still way too many.
LaShawn McCoy behind Vick on first down. Vick is going to throw it. With time, throws, wide open, across the 35, across the 40, his tight end, Brent Selleck, in a first down.
Well, even though Michael Vick ended up on the ground at the end of that throw, credit his group up front for protecting him. Little play action to McCoy, and McCoy does a great job of picking up McLean coming in on the blitz, and that's what allowed Michael Vick time. And Baltimore dropped into such a deep zone that Brent Selleck has all sorts of room underneath. He couldn't have been more wide open.
Out to the 43-yard line and a first down, and Vick out of the shotgun. Rolling to the near side, throws, and that's complete inside the 40-yard line, and another first down. This one to Deshaun Jackson.
Well, if Andy Reid is nothing, he's not adventurous. When everyone thinks it's going to be LaShawn McCoy, the first 2 plays of the game, he puts it in the hands of Michael Vick. Again, Michael Vick ends up on the ground. He's passed it twice and ended up on the turf both times, but both of them were completions for nice gains.
23 yards on the first play, 17 on the second. It's first down at the Baltimore 40. This is McCoy, right side, for a couple to about the 38-yard line. The offensive line tasked with protecting Michael Vick includes the huge left tackle King Dunlap at 6'9", 330 pounds. And among the many weapons the Eagles possess, running back LaShawn McCoy scored 20 touchdowns in his first Pro Bowl season last year. Second and 8. Vick, quick pass near side to Jackson. Jackson can't dance out of trouble and is brought down at about the 40-yard line. Up front for the Ravens, one of the best D linemen in all of football, number 92, Haloti Ngata. The linebackers include the seemingly ageless Ray Lewis, coming off his 13th Pro Bowl, entering his 17th NFL season. and a talented secondary led by the incomparable Ed Reed, who returned an interception for a touchdown in the opener against Cincinnati.
Well, Vic has both Macklin and Deshaun Jackson on the field. The question now is, can they be effective? Can they play at full speed with their injuries, the hip pointer and the hand?
3rd and 10. 3-man rush. Vic throwing. And inside the 25-yard line for a first down. Jason Avant.
Well, there is a laser from Michael Vick, and what a fantastic effort by Jason Avant. Working in the slot, watch him stretch out and make a hands catch, pull it to his body before he hits the ground. Michael Vick fitted into a window, and his wide receiver went up and got it.
That's a 16-yard pickup and a first down for the Eagles. Now at the Baltimore 24. Vick roll, short pass, that's complete. This is Selleck, the tight end, to about the 19. Ed Reed coming up from the secondary to make the stop.
Well, the players for the Eagles are doing some awfully good executing of the plays, but Marty Morningweg, the offensive coordinator who calls the plays, he and Andy. I know Andy says I script the first the start of this game, the first 10 plays, and take a look at it. 1 running play, 5 passes, and we have seen a very sharp Eagle offense.
Particularly Michael Vick, who now hands it off to Morris Johnson. And Johnson, the rookie free agent out of Tulsa, normally a wide receiver, lined up in the backfield.
Again, DeMorris Johnson lined up as a running back. And again, talk about being creative. This is a small guy at 5'8", 170 pounds. There's Marty Morningweg. You don't look at him as being a guy carrying the ball from scrimmage as a running back.
First down, Philadelphia at the Baltimore 13. To the up back, Stanley Havili. Back to the line of scrimmage and no more, maybe a half yard or so. Courtney Upshaw getting the start. An outside linebacker in place of Paul Gruger made the stop.
Well, in a week where everyone has said, Andy Reid, it's going to be all LaShawn McCoy all the time. That's what he's got to throw at the Ravens. They've got to run the ball. McCoy has got 1 carry for 2 yards. Everyone else in the Eagles offense participated.
Spread field on 2nd and 5. Vick running out of time, on the move. Turns the corner, throws. Intercepted in the end zone. Picked off by Bernard Pollard. Bernard Pollard with the diving interception to stop that drive.
Michael Vick, as a left-hander, has always been more comfortable rolling out to his left. He did everything perfectly here, rolling out to his right. But as he attempts to throw the ball, instead of being able to lead his receiver, he underthrows it, and that is just, he doesn't realize where Harbor's going to be. Easy pick.
Michael Vick threw 4 interceptions last week, and this initial drive by the Eagles ends in an interception by Bernard Pollard. On first down, Flacco throwing to the near side, way right side of the backfield, tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Let's go back to the pick.
Well, when you look at it, again, Michael Vick did everything right. Right there, he had broken contain. He could have run for some positive yardage. He could have gotten to the sidelines. He could have thrown it away. He could have done a myriad of things. I think he saw Ray Lewis off to the left, did not anticipate Bernard Pollard coming from the right, being able to undercut Harbor as much as he did.
These Eagles turned the ball over 5 times last week. Flacco, under pressure, lost the football, recovered at the 15-yard line by the Eagles. Cullen Jenkins on the ball for Philadelphia.
Flacco has the pocket deteriorating around him. I think Trent Cole is going to come around from the backside. Yes, he does. He reaches in with his left hand and knocks the ball away. Watch the left of your screen. Right there, Trent Cole knocks the ball out of Flacco's hand just as Joe is starting to wind up. What a tremendous job by Trent Cole. Gets the corner on Michael Orr and slaps the ball away from Flacco. What a talk about it, giving his team a lift.
Another opportunity for the Eagles. First down at the 15-yard line. McCoy breaks it to the right. No running room. Buried at the 15 by Albert McClellan.
A great job of setting the edge by the Baltimore defense that time. McCoy wanted that corner, and it looked like a minute he was going to have it, but tremendous run support. It is so hard for a quarterback to anticipate that backside rush, especially Orr took Cole. He took his body. He took 90% of him all the way around the corner, but Trent Cole had just enough room to reach in and slap the ball away.
2nd and 10. This is McCoy. Cole on the left side, inside the 5, and we've got a penalty flag. Our first flag of the day, and our referee today is Robert Frazier.
Holding. Offense. Number 65. 10-yard penalty in the previous spot. Still second down.
That's the left tackle, King Dunlap.
Well, and this was a problem for Andy Reid's club last week, too. King Dunlap, the big, giant left tackle. That's him, number 65, falling to the ground. And look at, he's gotten Nada by the shoulder pad and drags it with him.
No easy trick.
Dragging Haloti Nada anywhere is not easy. You know, this was a problem for the Eagles last week in that game with Cleveland. They had 4 holding calls in that game that put them in a lot of situations like this, either first and 20 or 2nd and 20. Tough to overcome.
McCoy looking for running room. Doesn't have any. Stumbles down to the 25-yard line, and the Ravens defense stands tall.
Again, the Ravens do a sensational job of setting that edge defensively. Arthur Jones and Ray Lewis both. Right there, McCoy wants the outside. Well, there was Ray Lewis looking him right in the face. Wise choice there by McCoy of going back to the inside. There was no future for you running towards Ray Lewis.
3rd and 20.
So where?
Vic needs the 5-yard line for a first down. To the 15, to the 10, inside the 10, Brent Selleck, and looks to be just short of the 5-yard line.
Now Michael Vick again has to pick himself up and dust himself off. He held it to the last minute, which is what you have to do on a crossing pattern. Waiting for Selleck to come open, but a perfect pass right on his hands. Selleck looked it in.
And Andy Reid looks like he's going to go for it here on 4th down.
And again, there you Haloti Nada puts a pretty good shot on Michael Vick.
And Andy Reid wants a timeout to talk about this.
Well, he might be giving Vick a timeout to gather himself a little bit after that hit.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. FedEx. FedEx does more than shipping. FedEx, solutions that matter. And by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
Michael Vick went through a very physical game 1 last week, and his offensive line really isn't doing too many favors here, Dan.
Well, this hurt. Remember, Michael Vick missed a lot of the preseason because of ribs. Now look at him, instinctively kind of grabbed at his midsection. That really hurt Michael Vick.
4th and 1. McCoy diving inside the 5-yard line and appears to have enough for the first down.
Well, again, Bernard Pollard of the Ravens did a great job of getting upfield, turning it back to the inside, and luckily McCoy was able to pick up a push from his Eagles offensive line at that point. Again, it looked like he wanted to get around the corner. There's Pollard taking up Havili's block right there. But then there was a really good surge on the right side. Kelsey, Watkins, Harrimans, they got it done.
Rookie Bryce Brown, 7th round draft choice, into the backfield behind Vick. 1st and goal, Eagles.
Back over. Pick the team. White 20. White 20.
This is Brown. To about the 3.
Well, Baltimore is serving notice that they're not going to get, while they got pushed off a little bit on that fourth down play, by and large, they have been contesting the run pretty darn well. The Eagles have run the ball 7 times for a grand total of 13 yards.
They have 14 offensive plays to Baltimore's 2. Vick, rolling, throwing, incomplete. Looked like he had his arm hit, and here's a late flag. Robert Frazier from Dallas.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 20. Blow to the head. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Ed Reed, the guilty party. It'll be first and goal.
And there's Ed Reed coming off the corner. And with his left hand, he hits Michael Vick right in the helmet. And Robert Frazier is standing right there looking at it. Now you are allowed with your hands to make contact with the helmet, but if the official deems it to be a forcible blow, it's roughing the passer. And there was no question he hit Vick in the head.
First and goal. McCoy straight ahead to the end zone for the touchdown.
And I'll tell you, Michael Vick got hit again as the Ravens exploded through the line. He barely got that handoff. I'm telling you, this is a sore Michael Vick coming to the Philadelphia sideline. Watch this explosion upfield by Nadas. He's not blocked. And then Michael Vick gets hit down around his legs. I couldn't see exactly. We'll see from here who it is that gets him down low. Boy, that is a rough. That was Kimoyatu, the nose tackle that was wrapped around Vick's ankles. Great touchdown for Philadelphia, but Michael Vick has been paying the price for it.
Extra point by Chad Henry is good. 5:40 to play in the first quarter. The Eagles take advantage of the turnover and lead Baltimore 7-0. Michael Vick on the sideline. Dan, you're saying, we talked about it during the break, he can't help but maybe be sore already.
Well, that shot that he took from Elodie Nata, that there's no question that hurt. That hurt quite a bit. But the good news is, he's standing, walking around on the sideline, and not being looked at by the training staff.
Deontay Thompson is deep for the Ravens and will run it out from about 6 yards deep. The 20, the 30, and out across the 40-yard line. A terrific return. Knocked down by David Sims, number 21. Michael Vick picked off in the end zone. Came right back, though, after the recovery of the fumble. And LaShawn McCoy's touchdown. Baltimore trails for the first time all season.
Well, the Eagles have run a grand total of 15 plays, but that has involved Michael Vick taking more than his fair share of hits in what you would think would be 15 plays worth of work. And that one from Elodie Nata really got him. Ed Reed comes in and makes contact with his helmet. That was a large play as it gave the Eagles a first down, and they ultimately scored.
Deontay Thompson's 49-yard kickoff return has the Ravens set up at their own 42. Flacco to throw. And he's got his man inside the 40 to the 35. That's tight end Ed Dixon for a first down, and here's that Baltimore no-huddle offense.
Well, Nate Allen and the Eagles had good coverage, but the route and the throw were absolutely perfect. Joe Flacco could not have put it in a better place for Ed Dixon to make a catch in what was, against what was really tight coverage.
Ray Rice and Vontae Leach behind Flacco. 23-yard kicker, first down at the 35. This is Rice. Just inside the 32 to 29. Nate Allen coming up from the secondary for the tackle.
Well, we asked John Harbaugh when would he like to see the ball snapped in this no-huddle offense, and he said, I'd like to see it go somewhere between 15-20 seconds left on the play clock. It's going to be up-tempo. We want to make this a fast game.
5 is Rice again, and Rice with a first down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line.
Now the Philadelphia Eagles defensively, they love to rotate. They like to switch out their defensive linemen every 4 or 5 plays. Juan Castillo, the defensive coordinator, he loves to keep fresh guys on the field. Maybe tough to do.
Inside of the 20 to the 16-yard line, Dennis Pitta, who had 5 catches a week ago for 73 yards and a touchdown.
See, when the Ravens get up to the ball like this, Cam Cameron's getting the play in a hurry to Joe, and of course Joe's got the liberty to move it around. The Eagles can't substitute.
And if they try, Joe Flacco and the Ravens are ready to run a quick play. This is Rice again. To about the 12.
We're going to leave the play clock in up here. You can take a look at it. Keep your eye on it. See if they're able to make this an up-tempo game, snapping the ball with high teens or 20 seconds left on the clock. Right now, Joe appears to be content with just not allowing them to substitute.
Flacco this time from the shotgun. Over the middle, that's complete, and inside the 5 to the 4 is Anquan Bolden. And Bolden comes up shoving. Didn't like something that happened at the end of the play.
Well, there's no laundry on the field, so nobody's going to get called out for making a stupid penalty. First of all, outstanding blocking up front. Flacco puts it right on Bolden's hands. Trying to see what goes on at the end. That's Kurt Coleman, number 42 on top. Oh, he's still trying to pull the football away. I think Anquan Bolden thought that Coleman kept playing long after the play was over.
2nd and 3. This is Vontae Leach to the end zone for the touchdown. And a little bit more shoving in the end zone between Eagles and Ravens.
This is more than shoving now. There's a flag on the ground with this one. And again,
and it continues.
And now Vontae Leach and Coleman are squaring off.
The bottom line is the Ravens into the end zone and are now looking to tie the game with the extra point.
We could see what got it started to play before, where Kurt Coleman kept trying to pry the ball away from Bolden long after the play was over. Robert Frazier, the referee, trying to sort this out.
After the play, personal foul, defense, number 97. After personal foul, offense. Those penalties will offset. Score is good.
Well, Cullen Jenkins is the defensive player called Philadelphia.
An unnamed Baltimore Raven on the other side. Again, let's watch this touchdown. Vontae Leach, whose primary job is a blocker, enjoys some sensational blocking from his teammates. That was a total collapse on the right side. Great job of blocking by Semele, Yanda, Burke.
Justin Tucker's extra point attempt is good. 2:08 to play here in the first quarter. The Ravens come right back for the tying touchdown. 7-7. Joe Flacco on the left, Michael Vick on the right. 2:08 to play here in the first quarter of a 7-7 game. And to say that nerves are a little frayed at the outset here would be an understatement.
Well, again, these are two physical football teams. They don't take to being shoved easily.
Brandon Boykin will not run this one out of the end zone. Let's go back to that little fracas in the end zone.
Wait till you see this block by Marshall Yanda, the right guard. He is right here, and this is Cullen Jenkins right here. Watch this block as he takes Jenkins. There's the 3, the 2, the 1, the goal line, the -4. They end up 5 yards in the end zone. Now Jenkins gets up. He's not happy about that. By the way, I wouldn't be happy about being blocked 8 yards off the line of scrimmage either. What a block by Marshall Yanda.
So Vic and the Eagles from their own 20-yard line. And Bryce Brown starts the series in the backfield with Habili. Vic with time, wafting it, and that's complete. And decked at the 40-yard line is the tight end Brent Selleck. Bernard Pollard administered the hit. Selleck held on.
Well, Selleck might have been down, but he pops up and gets a crowd in it. Leading with the shoulder. Now, right here, he's a defenseless receiver, so you can't hit him in the head. And Bernard Pollard had the helmet off to the side and hit him with the shoulder.
New set of downs. Bryce Brown, right side. To about the 44. Let's check in with JB and Dan Marino in New York.
Hey, Greg, on any given play. Oh, yeah, Greg and Dan, Carson Palmer's got to love this. A little swing pass out to the flat. Mike Goodson, he takes his untouched 64 yards for a touchdown, tying the game in Miami, 7-7.
Here's an old reference. Mike Goodson, Bill Todman. Back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Dierdorf.
Thank you, guys. 3-yard pickup on the last play. Vic has a 2nd and 7, and the give is to Habili, who barely makes it back to the line of scrimmage. That swarming Baltimore defense.
Well, and talk about a guy who's fit into that defense. Bernard Pollard, you know, they signed him last year, a free agent from Houston. Talk about finding a home with a bunch of guys who think just the way you do. Bernard Pollard is one of the hardest hitting safeties in football. Brent Selleck just found it out, but that didn't start today. Pollard's been doing it for years.
Selleck 4 catches, 68 yards on the day. 3rd and 7 for Vic. On the blitz, and he gets buried back at the 36-yard line. Bernard Pollard.
Well, the line stunt, it's just a 4-man rush. You know, when it's all said and done, there's only 4 people coming, but one of them is Bernard Pollard, and it completely surprises the offensive line, and Michael Vick pays for it.
We've come to the end of the first quarter here in Philadelphia. The Eagles and the Ravens tied at 7. Looking at Bernard Pollard, who has just now gotten up off the ground. He's been pretty active today and shaken up on the last play.
Well, he's right here, and he loops inside to run a really nice line stunt. See his loop right there, and then he's untouched, but it looked like the pile landed on him.
Chaz Henry gets the pick away. Jacoby Jones from about his own 7-yard line up the near sideline and out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. Hey, the Facts of Life star, the baseball MVP, and 3 wounded castaways back for a second chance. Survivor season premiere Wednesday, only CBS.
I think Brent Selleck is still paying the price for that big hit from Bernard Pollard. He's getting worked on and stretched out by the Eagles training staff.
From the 25-yard line, Flacco throwing out to Vontae Leach on the near sideline. Spins out of bounds just across the 30 at the 31.
Well, Vontae Leach, for a guy who's nicknamed the road grader and anything else, you know, John Harbaugh, we couldn't run the eye until we got this guy here, is really getting a chance to show that he's a complete football player. You know, he only had 3 career carries before last year. The Ravens gave him a dozen. He's already got a rushing touchdown today, and now he's getting involved in the passing game as well.
Short drop, Flacco throws the quick one across the 35 to the 37 or 38 to Dennis Pitta.
Well, we know they're running the no huddle. Now it's just a question of tempo. And actually, Joe's going to, you know, this is more like the old muddle huddle where everybody just kind of stands around.
Flacco in of bounds at about the 40-yard line is Pitta once again.
The Eagles right now leaving the same defensive team on the field. Of course, that's just, they haven't run very many plays in this series. Where that really starts to become a problem is when you get to the 8th, 9th, 10th play of a drive. The Eagles, before they get to that point, will desperately want to substitute.
On 2nd and 8, this is Rice, and Rice trying to squeeze through a hole on the left side, gets into about the 43, and here comes substitutions for the Eagles.
And the Eagles, you can see how they've practiced it. They just sprinted off the sidelines while the Ravens players were even still down on the ground. So the Eagles now able to substitute, and Baltimore not pressing the SU as they go back to the huddle.
And it's a 3rd and 4, and here comes the Philadelphia crowd. From the shotgun, Flacco lofts it out for Rice, incomplete. Looking for a flag, not going to get the call.
Well, Joe Flacco under pressure as he had an unblocked blitzer coming at him. And right there, Ray Rice, as he was attempting to go upfield, Michael Kendricks, the linebacker, didn't know where the football was. He elevated. And again, Joe Flacco and Ray Rice both asking for the flag.
Sam Cook to punt it away. DeMaurice Johnson is back at his own 10-yard line. Fake! Right up the middle. And it's going to be short of the first down.
It's going to be short.
They needed the 47-yard line. They made it to the 45, carried by Sean Considine.
And Considine appeared to stumble. I don't know if he tripped over his own teammate, but he caught his legs up, and I think that's what sent him to the ground. Welcome back to Philadelphia. Here's Sean Considine right here. He's going to take the direct snap, but watch him on his way in. He's going to trip over the feet of Hedebo, his own player. That would have easily, that was blocked well enough, that would have easily been enough yardage for the first down, except he tripped and stumbles over his own guy.
Vick on first down, now on the move. Falls forward just inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. Now John Harbaugh.
Oh, here we go.
Here's a late flag and more scuffling. It looks like punches thrown on the far side. Deshaun Jackson and Kerry Williams.
And they're still going now. One official threw a flag early, a second official threw one, and now Arthur Jones at the last minute gets in there.
And Deshaun Jackson still going at it.
Well, replacement officials, regular officials, it doesn't matter now. You've got to get control of this game. The coaches have to get involved. This is on the edge of getting really, really not nice. And that's the NFL has prided itself in not letting games get out of control. And right now, between Andy Reid, John Harbaugh, and the officiating crew, it's time to rein this baby in.
Here's Robert Frazier.
There were 2 fouls in play. Personal foul. Defense, number 10. Personal foul. Offense. Those penalties will offset. It'll be second down.
Well, I think he had the numbers. Reverse. Number 10 is Deshaun Jackson for the offense. They're on the right side. Jackson throws a left. He comes back, gets one in the chops.
And that's number 29, Kerry Williams, the cornerback.
Yeah. Arthur Jones then comes in and he pulls him off. And he's got no business getting involved in that. But again, offsetting fouls. In essence, no harm, no foul.
2nd and 4. Vick over the middle, tipped and almost intercepted.
Oh, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis got a hand on it, and Michael Vick again
Picks himself
finds
off the
himself
turf.
staring at this beautiful blue sky in Philadelphia from flat on his back. You can see Ray right there in the picture. And I don't know if Michael thought he was going to throw it over him to get the Brent Selleck, or he never saw him. But luckily for Michael Vick, Ray Lewis's momentum was carrying him to the right, and he wasn't able to plant quickly enough to get back on the football.
3rd and 4. Vick rolling left, throwing. That's complete. That's good for a first down inside the 30 to Deshaun Jackson.
And that was an absolute perfect play call for the situation that Dean Pease was bringing at him from the Ravens, because they blitz from the far side of the formation. So Michael Vick is rolling away from the blitz. Of course, he's rolling to his left, where he's much more effective, and you can see the quality of the football that he delivers to Deshaun Jackson. And Jackson and Kerry Williams
Are still going at it.
They are not feeling the love at the moment. That still is pretty close to boiling over.
First down, we get a whistle.
And another Eagles penalty is going to back him up.
Ball start. Offense. Number 69. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Evan Mathis, the left guard.
When we visited with Andy Reid, he was lamenting how many times that his drives had to start in a long yardage situation because of a pre-snap penalty or a holding call. It's just very frustrating. 1st and 15s, 1st and 20s. We've seen them already in a 2nd and 20.
He said our good runs were called back and we end up throwing.
I think you can see a little more balance there for Philadelphia today. Exactly 11 of each.
1st and 15. This is McCoy. Right side, running room. Airborne to the 27-yard line. Ladarius Webb with the stop. JB and Dan Marino in New York.
Greg and Dan, reminiscent of a Dan Marino touch pass.
Oh, thank you, JB. Off of Eli Manning, interception. Josh Friedman, perfect pass to Vincent Jackson. 29 yards for a touchdown. 10-6 Tampa.
You told me that, Danny, that's dropping it in the basket.
In the basket.
Back to Greg and Dan.
All right, guys, thank you. 2nd and 8 for Vick. And the give is to McCoy. McCoy dancing his way toward the 20-yard line. And he'll be about a yard shy of a first down. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Boy, LaShawn McCoy can make people miss. He has really got that ability. We were talking to Ray Rice about McCoy, and McCoy said, hey, we played him in college all the time, and, he wears number 25, and we used to say at Rutgers, looking at the Pitt film, it's Reggie Bush playing for Pitt. Same number, he said, the same kind of shiftiness.
We told you Bernard Pollard was shaken up earlier. James Ahedibo is in the lineup for him now. On 3rd and short yardage, loose football, still loose on the ground. Covered by the Baltimore Ravens. Albert McClellan fell on the loose ball.
Well, in this league, it's hard enough to hold on to the football when somebody's hitting you. That's what makes it all the more frustrating when you have it and you just don't put it away. And a botched handoff between Brown and Vick hands it to the Baltimore Ravens in a tight game.
Any coach will tell you turnovers will kill you. The ball goes to the Ravens. First down at their own 30-yard line. And this is Ray Rice with running room. Rice breaks it up the middle. 40. Inside the 30 before he's hit from behind. And down at about the 27-yard line. Michael Kendricks, the rookie linebacker, caught him from behind.
Well, how's this for some blocking at the point of attack? I'm sure this surprises Ray Rice, how easily he is open. Take a look at this hole. Assembly comes all the way over from the right tackle position on a trap block. A great collapse at the point of attack by Orr and Harwood.
43-yard pickup.
It never even looks that good in practice.
Flacco to the throw down the near sideline. It's incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Hey, watch Fantasy Football Today to get game time player news, inactive updates to help set your lineup, and chat with our experts live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network and at cbssports.com/live. Rice, after a breather, back into the lineup on 2nd and 10.
And no attempt to be up-tempo here by Baltimore right now offensively.
Flacco from the shotgun. That's complete to Tandon Doss, the second-year wide receiver out of Indiana.
I like the way Doss kept fighting, though, after contact. A lot of wide receivers in today's game are quick to drop the cover the minute they've got somebody on him, but Tandon Doss, young guy fighting for some playing time, spun away, took an extra couple of hits, and picked up another couple of yards. Like the effort.
6-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd and 4. Play clock is down to 10.
And they're going to get called for having 12 guys in the huddle.
Looked like Torrey Smith leaving the field late.
Ideally, the substitution, he was...
You know, the definition is whether he was never in the huddle, so...
Timeout, Baltimore, prior to the foul.
Okay. Look at that. Sherlock Holmes is back, and in a city of unsolved crimes, he's the biggest mystery of all. Elementary premieres Thursday, September 27th, only CBS. On that last play, it appeared that Coach John Harbaugh called timeout, probably seeing what was going to happen with his 12th man trying to get off the field.
Which he could do to the official standing right in front of him on the sideline. He can take the timeout. Robert Frazier, though, the referee, with what he was looking at, did the right thing by throwing the flag. You can't have 12 guys on the field like that and then sprint one off and snap the football.
Each team now with 2 timeouts remaining here in the first half, which has 8:38 remaining on the clock.
Now, having given you that explanation about Harbaugh taking a timeout, Andy Reid was having none of it. He had a piece of Robert Frazier during the timeout there as he was letting him have it.
Here's a big 3rd down. Flacco throwing. Touchdown to Jacoby Jones, and what a beautiful throw from Joe Flacco.
Well, beautiful is the right word. Joe Flacco knows that Philadelphia is sitting back in a single high safety, and that safety has no chance of getting involved in this play. And you see Asamoah initially good coverage, but that double move by Jacoby Jones. And once Jones has a step on Asamoah, there is no help coming from the middle. That is great recognition by Joe Flacco, a superb route run by Jacoby Jones, and then the throw itself, magnificent.
Extra point is good. John Harbaugh told us last night Jacoby Jones has come to the Ravens and he has been better than advertised. 70 yards, 4 plays. Ravens lead 14-7. 70-yard drive culminating with the Flacco to Jacoby Jones touchdown. 14-7 Baltimore. Brandon Boykin in the end zone awaiting the Baltimore kick. And he'll get a chance to return this one. Just across the 15 to the 16-yard line, and let's go back to the TD.
Well, the first thing Joe Flacco does is identify that there's only one safety. Coleman is here. He knows he's got this whole part of the field. Here's Jones and Asamoah and their little battle over here to the far side. So Joe Flacco knows he has no threat coming from the inside to the deep outside. And Asamoah is left all alone. And this is a tremendous route by Jacoby Jones. And Asamoah, as you can see, just no contest in keeping up with Jacoby Jones on that double move. A beautiful move, but against the right defense.
First down now, Vick. Deep drop. On the move, looking, going to run it out of bounds at about the 21-yard line.
And down goes one of our technicians. Well, that's how you pick up the best sound of the game. By having it happen right on your by having it happen right on your chest.
Ow.
Well, it was a smart play.
That's Ryan Hoover of our crew, and I'm afraid that's not covered.
And he bounced up. He bounced up with
Yes,
a
he
smile.
did. 2nd and 4. McCoy. Close to the 25-yard line, be about a yard short of a first down.
Well, Philadelphia is in no psychological position here to do a 3 and out. So this 3rd and 1 a little more critical than most.
There's Joe Flacco playing in front of 45 members of family and friends. He grew up in a house that's 2 to 2.5 miles from the base of the Walt Whitman Bridge. So he's from these parts.
3rd and 1, completely empty backfield.
Vick off the hands of McCoy.
That's the problem with throwing the ball on 3rd and 1, is that you design a perfect play, but it's not 100%. And LaShawn McCoy just not able to hold on to the football, and that's again, like I said, some 3 and outs are worse than others, with Baltimore having the offensive momentum that they've got going now. Great 3 and out by the Baltimore D.
So Jacoby Jones back at his own 25-yard line. And Chaz Henry set to kick it away. Jones let it bounce, and it takes a Ravens bounce before the Eagles kill it just inside the 45-yard line.
Well, the score is 14-7 in favor of the Ravens, but we've seen some pretty chippy plays so far. Coleman and Vontae Leach, a little pushing, a little shoving, out of bounds. It continues. That's Jeremy Maclin as he goes at it. Again, that's Coleman and Anquan Bolden. And then Deshaun Jackson was involved. He gets yanked to the ground by Arthur Jones. And, you know, there was a fine line between a good shove and a small punch. And it was pretty close that some small punches were thrown. That's a good way to get out of the game.
This is Bernard Pierce. Pierce to about the 48.5-yard line where Akeem Jordan makes the stop.
And that, you know, that definition by an official who's watching between a good shove and a small punch is a big one, because in the NFL, throwing a punch, that's an ejection. That will get you a quick trip up the tunnel and a sizable FedEx from the league office.
You never did that, did you?
Yeah, so hopefully this is settled down. We haven't had anything in the last couple of minutes.
I'm sorry, you must have missed what I said.
No,
You never did that, did you?
I heard you. Well, back then the league office didn't, they weren't as active in finding players as they are today.
2nd and 5.
A little different environment.
Rice across midfield to the 49-yard line.
If these guys today saw some of the things that happened in football games 30, 40 years ago, they wouldn't believe it. You could get away with a lot of physical mayhem back then. It's a no-go today, and it's for a good reason.
So now the Eagles' chance to make a defensive stand on 3rd and 2. We are under 6 minutes to play here in the first half.
But the Ravens keep Ray Rice in the backfield.
Flacco under pressure and throws it out here to the side. Rice made the catch, and he was immediately hit by Michael Kendricks, the rookie linebacker.
Well, Michael Kendricks has Ray Rice all the way, and this was a pretty easy deal for him. You can see he's just locked on Ray Rice. He floats right out there with him. Joe Flacco wanted to go downtown with it, and by the time he came back to Rice, there was nowhere to go. Joe really was looking downfield. He was trying to work one of his deep patterns, and you got to give the Eagles secondary credit. They tightened it up.
DeMaurice Johnson back at his own 10 for the upcoming kick from Sam Cook. Oh, what a kick. What a floater. Bouncing inside the 5, and it's a touchback. So it'll come out to the 20-yard line. It is not too late to play NFL.com fantasy football. Sign up today for the official fantasy game of the NFL at NFL.com/fantasy.
Well, you had to give credit to Baltimore's defense for forcing a quick 3 and out, and then right away the Eagles defense does exactly the same thing. So a couple of good back-to-back jobs by the teams in their respective defenses.
You look at the passing and the rushing leaders and the receiving leaders today. Tight ends rule the roost so far here in the first half. On first down, LaShawn McCoy dodges a tackler out to the 25 to the 26-yard line. Pick up a little market at the 25. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Boy, I tell you what, LaShawn McCoy, he has got some change of direction. There wasn't a whole lot there at the point of attack, and he's able to come up with 5 yards where the blocking at the point didn't deserve 5 yards.
What a season he had last
heck of an
year.
effort.
20 total touchdowns, 17 of them on the ground. And here's McCoy again. First down yardage up the sideline. 45. And down right there by Ed Reed.
Well, we've got a Baltimore defender back on the ground at the 29-yard line. Take a look at that right there. Well, we just got done talking about making people miss, and Jimmy Smith gets nothing but air as he floats by.
That's Donnell Ellerby. Help to his feet. We'll take a break with 4:02 to play in the half. That's fourth-year linebacker Donnell Ellerby, who left the field under his own power. Meanwhile, Bernard Pollard, who was being looked at on the sideline and had not returned to action since then, has gone to the locker room. And as soon as we find out anything on him, we'll let you know. First down for Vic and the Eagles at their own 45. Vic complete. Inside the 40, diving to the 36 is Deshaun Jackson.
Let's take a look at Ray Lewis work in the middle of the field. You know, he's lighter this year. He's covering a lot of ground, but you can see that Deshaun Jackson finds that nice little hole between the second and the third levels of the Baltimore's defense. Behind Lewis, in front of Ed Reed.
Keep in mind, this Baltimore defense operating under a new defensive coordinator this year, Dean Pease. Last year's coordinator, Chuck Pagano, now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Vic steps out of trouble, throws, wide open at the 20 is Sella, to the 15, to the 10, inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal. Ed Reed dragged him down there. 28 yards on the pickup.
And Brett Selleck getting his 5th catch of the day, and on a couple of them, he has been just utterly disregarded by the Ravens secondary. Now Michael Vick buys some time right here. Watch coming off the edge. Here comes the blitz by McClellan, but he steps up, buys some time. But look at that. Looking at that from the end zone, when Selleck caught the ball, there wasn't a Raven defender even in the screen.
1st and goal from the 9. This is McCoy. McCoy, loose ball.
And it's
picked up by the Ravens. And Michael Vick dragging Ray Lewis to the ground. Another Philadelphia turnover.
Well, Ray Lewis had to be stunned that the ball's just lying on the ground. McCoy has it, but you can see the helmet from Ladarius Webb. Webb has done such a good job these last couple of years of forcing the edge. Watch him put a helmet right on the football. And he just goes right in there and dislodges McCoy from the ball, and Ray Lewis the only guy near the football when it ends up on the turf. But give a lot of credit to 21 Ladarius Webb. he has become one good cornerback in the NFL.
LaShawn McCoy, who fumbled just once all last year, now coughs up his second this season already.
We're going to go under the hood, I think, to review whether or not Ray Lewis was down by contact, but let's take a look. I don't think there's any question as to whether or not it's a fumble. No, it is a fumble. So the question's got to be, was Ray Lewis touched there before he got up? Yep, and he's
by a foot.
Yep. It looks like they're going to spot. There's no question the ball belongs to Baltimore. The question now is where they're going to spot it.
That is Ray Lewis's 20th career fumble recovery.
You know, Ladarius Webb, he's not a big guy. You know, talking to Dean Pease about his ability. You know, some corners have this reputation of the only thing all they want to do is cover. They want to turn and run with somebody. Not many corners are really eager to come up and stick their nose into a running back, and that's what Webb did that time with LaShawn McCoy.
That's Dean Pease right there in the center of your screen. And the officials are under the hood trying to figure out just where to spot this football. And there's Michael Vick throwing his good friend Ray Lewis to the turf.
Well, I think when you go back to exactly where Ray Lewis picks up the ball is where they're going to spot it, because I think he was touched right there. Right there, King Dunlap. Now, does touching a guy with the foot put you down? I believe it's down by, you're contacted by someone from the other team while you are on the ground. And that appears to have happened right there. Ray Lewis's knee was still on the ground.
Here comes Robert Frazier.
After further review, after the fumble, the Baltimore player was down by contact. It will be Baltimore's ball at the 9-yard line. Clock operator, please reset the game clock.
And again, as we've been documenting, it's the touch of King Dunlap's foot right there on the left leg of Ray Lewis.
That is contact. So it's Baltimore ball inside the 10.
Good work by the officiating crew of going back there and getting it right. But again, the big play is not negated. Another Eagle turnover.
So with 2:34 to play here in the first half, Baltimore with the ball and a one-touchdown lead. Flacco going to throw. That's complete to Bolden on the outside. Torrey Smith, excuse me. And he's out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
And that's Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, the talented Eagle corner who's probably going to spend most of the day on 82, Torrey Smith, the biggest of the big play guys for the Ravens. Although Jacoby Jones is the guy with the best looking pattern of the day in the touchdown.
Rice up the middle, big hole, 30, 35, first down, Baltimore.
Man, you love to see offensive line blocking like that. Nobody likes it more than Ray Rice.
That brings us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here in Philadelphia. Baltimore on the move. They lead at 14-7. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher will have the latest NFL scores and highlights on the Verizon Halftime Report. 2 minutes to play. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. Flacco throwing this way and throws it out of bounds over the head of Dennis Pitta.
Still looking at the left all the way, and it just comes down kind of awkwardly, dragged down by Trent Cole. Joe Flacco, a big man, 6'6", 245, and as Greg talked about earlier, kind of fun playing only about 6 or 7 miles from where you grew up.
Flacco on the move, throws complete, and that really, shaking away from tacklers is Ray Rice, and Rice out to about the 39.
Well, talk about making something out of nothing. That looked at first blush like it was going to be a loss for the Ravens.
These Eagles surrendered a total of 210 yards to lead the league in defense after week 1. They've given up 177 already today here to Baltimore. 3rd and 7. Flacco pulls it down, now throws, and coming across is Dennis Pitta, but he's dragged down by D'Amico Ryan.
Yeah, a pattern and a completion that had no chance of a first down attached to it because of where Ryans was. And Joe sees him, but he obviously had no other options because he had all sorts of time in the pocket.
And Philadelphia uses a timeout here, their second of the first half, to stop the clock with minute 16 to play here in the first half.
Well, right now, the Eagles have to be where they're going to get a chance to maybe get a field goal. Who knows what might happen the next 1 minute and 16 seconds. The reality for the Eagles is simply this. They're coming to the end of their 6th quarter of football here in this 2012 season, and they have turned the ball over 8 times. They had 4 interceptions and a fumble last week in the game against Cleveland, and now they've turned it over 3 times in the first 2 quarters of this game.
Now, if there's bad news for the Ravens, then they only have 7 points off of those 3 turnovers. Another terrific kick from Sanford Cook. This is DeMaurice Johnson from his own 3 and spins down at the 5-yard line, courtesy of Brendan Ayanbadejo.
Now, Ayanbadejo has been a great special teams player for a long time. Well, the score is 14-7. Let's take a look at how that came to be. A great drive by the Eagles ended with Michael Vick throwing an interception in the end zone. And then Joe Flacco hit from behind by Cole. And then LaShawn McCoy gets a touchdown for the Eagles to put them up. Then Vontae Leach counters, makes it a 7-7 game. And then Jacoby Jones, after an outstanding double move on Nnamdi Asomugha, takes in a perfect pass from Joe Flacco to make it the score we have now 14-7.
So now the Eagles 94 yards away, 1 timeout remaining, 1:05 on the clock, and the give is to McCoy, left side. And it looks like they'll be willing to run out the clock here in the final 55 seconds of the first half.
Yeah, inside your own 10-yard line, nothing good's going to happen here.
You see what the Eagles have done in the final 2 minutes of each half in week 1. And, you know, all things considered, the way the Eagles have turned the ball over, Andy Reid really ought to be happy being down just a touchdown.
The word happy and 8 turnovers cannot be in the same sentence. Not for a football coach.
Relatively speaking.
They can't even be in the same paragraph or in the same book.
This is McCoy. McCoy slammed down at the 11-yard line by Pernell McPhee, and that likely will be the last play of the first half. Or let's see.
Well, Baltimore has, with their timeouts, they could take a timeout. They've got another one left after this if they wanted to force a punting situation and get after the kicker and see if they could get a blocked punt.
They have stopped the clock with 25 seconds to play. Once again, remember, the usual suspect coming your way on the Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. Latest NFL scores and highlights on the Verizon Halftime Report. Joe Flacco, so far so good in front of the home folks. Wearing the patch paying tribute to Art Modell. Dan, you and I knew Art Modell a long time.
I knew Art Modell for a long time, and a great man. And anyone who watches the NFL on television owes a debt of gratitude to Art Modell.
3rd and 4. And McCoy looking for running room. Tries to get a block from Vick, who go down at the 9-yard line. And the Ravens use their 3rd timeout to stop the clock with 18 seconds. So they'll get a chance at a punt return here.
Well, a couple strategies here. You could get after the kicker, see if you could get a block and something great happen. Or you could, you get back there and you field the punt with 18 seconds left on the clock. If it's a horrible kick, if he shanks it or something like that, you might be able to attempt a long field goal.
You had to like the special teams trick play that the Ravens came up with, and John Harbaugh, the former special teams coach,
it was
here in Philadelphia.
It was a good call. They had the right defense that they were running it against. It's just when you practice that all week, you don't practice tripping. No, you didn't have Sean Considine tripping over James Ihedebo and falling down on his own.
So Chaz Henry kicking it away to Jacoby Jones. Low kick. Jones at a 48 and runs it out of bounds at about yard line. So 9 seconds on the clock. And here in the first half, the numbers for Joe Flacco and Michael Vick. Ray Rice with 78 yards rushing, Sean McCoy with 58. And then Dennis Pitta and Brent Selleck, the tight ends, leading the way receiving.
Well, the Baltimore offense, without any timeouts, this obviously has to be some sort, either a pass to the end zone or a sideline pass to stop the clock.
To the near side, and out of bounds is Anquan Bolden.
And that picked up about 8 inches. They ran that play for maybe, I'm not sure, they gained a foot out of that.
And here comes Justin Tucker, the rookie free agent kicker out of Texas. And he will line this one up from about 55 yards out. He'll make it 56 yards out.
Well, the Rook is 3 for 3, so he's not. Life so far in the NFL is perfect for him.
So here we go, Justin Tucker. Kick is on its way, and he got it.
So the Eagles' inability to pick up a first down and run out the clock cost them 3 points.
His first career field goal attempt from 50 or more yards is a dandy.
And even though Billy Cundiff had a good career in Baltimore, I think most Raven fans are pleased to see a new man at the wheel of the kicking game.
You know what? That kick cleared the crossbar by a lot. A lot.
John Harbaugh says, thank you, Philadelphia. Thank you, defense, for getting them off the field. There's still 1 second left on the clock, so Baltimore's going to have to kick off.
Anyone who wonders whether time management is important or not.
Well, again, a lot of bad things happen sometimes when you need to pick up a first down and you can't do it. And I would say that Andy Reid's blood pressure right now is pretty darn high.
We are told that 56-yard field goal ties the longest field goal in Ravens history. Wade Ritchie kicked one in 03, 56 yards.
I'll tell you, the 8 inches they picked up on the play before had no bearing on the length of that kick.
Short squibber on the ground, grabbed at midfield, and that's halftime. It was a half of turnovers for the Eagles, and it cost them. 17-7 Ravens. Back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. This is the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. Back in Philadelphia as we get set for the start of the second half. Baltimore's Ravens leading the Eagles by a score of 17-7. Let's take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam.
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of teamwork involved here. The defense forces a 3 and out, and then they run one play offensively, but then a great kick, 56 yards by the Rook. And again, a wonderful first half for the Baltimore Ravens, who get the ball to start the second half. Momentum is clearly on their side.
Welcome back, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf. We were out to dinner the other night. Someone walked by and said, "Go Birds," and we thought, they're both birds on both sides of the ball today, but it's clearly the Baltimore Ravens who have had the advantage thanks to turnovers.
Well, again, it's been this chronic issue with the Eagles. 5 last week, 3 in the first half, and I can't imagine what Andy Reid said to his team. Yelling doesn't do any good. I'm sure there was some, let's just calm down. But, now that they're down by 10 points, you got to wonder now, doesn't so much more of the burden fall on Michael Vick in the passing game?
And the really tough part of it for Andy Reid now, he has to see the Ravens accept the second half kickoff here.
And it's, again, the two defenses, it's been a hard-hitting game. We went through a period in the first half where a couple melees almost broke out, and luckily we got through that section.
From the goal line, it's Deontay Thompson. Thompson looking for running room to the near side of the field. Stiff arm and gets him out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Brandon Boykin ran him out as we look at some halftime numbers.
And again, this number here just won't go away for the Eagles. Keeping track at home, that's 8 turnovers with the 5 last week in 6 quarters of football.
And the Eagles with the advantage in passing yards, total yards, and time of possession. What counts is on the scoreboard. That's where the Ravens lead by 10. Flacco going to come out throwing. It popped in the air and falls incomplete.
Well, a couple times in the first half, Ray Rice exploded through some gaping holes in the Eagles defense, and I thought that we'd see them get back to Ray Rice pretty quickly. Now they're trying to get it to him on a short screen, and Joe trying to throw a little touch pass in there. What he does is he bounces it off of Fletcher Cox.
On 2nd and 10, Flacco throws outside. His man fell down. Dennis Pitta with first down yardage out to about the 38.
Well, Akeem Jordan, the linebacker who had the coverage on Pitta, ends up flat on his back. Dixon and Pitta are such a formidable combo. But watch this. He runs right into him. Well, that's how he ends up flat on his back. But that contact was initiated by Jordan. Pitta's got a right to run his pattern, and Jordan ran right at him and ended up flat on his back.
On first down from the 39. Flacco over the middle, and that one broken up by the rookie Michael Kendricks, who has been really active in this game. The second-round draft pick out of Cal.
Well, being broken up is about the best thing there that could have happened to Joe Flacco, because that could have been intercepted. Undercutting the route, and if that ball would have been just about a foot closer, that would have been an interception. Kendricks has been all over the place today.
2nd and 10.
Only a single safety back for the Eagles.
Flacco dodging trouble on the move, throws sideline, complete to Pitta. Well, is there anything better for a quarterback than a good tight end who's a security blanket? And in Baltimore, Joe Flacco has 2 of them.
Well, yeah, he has 2 of them, and he and Dennis Pitta are great friends. But Pitta just came back, made himself a target, stationed himself right along the sideline. And, when you got a big body like that, the defender behind you got a long way to go to get around you to try to get in on the ball.
Pitta with 6 catches today to go along with his 5 from last week. 3rd and 2. Flacco with time, going to throw over the middle, intercepted. Picked off by D'Amico Ryan. And Ryan is going to be whistled down at his own 44-yard line.
Oh, now we've got another little fracas going on, and there goes a flag.
And the fracas continues. You and I were talking at halftime, Dan, that this could get a little ugly.
Well, I mentioned
if the officials didn't get a handle.
I thought we'd moved past it, but apparently it's still awfully close to the surface. Well, Flacco got away with one when it was batted away by Kendricks, but then This time another linebacker comes underneath and picks it off. That's D'Amico Ryans. What a trade they made with Houston to get this guy.
After the interception, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 27, Baltimore. 15 yards from the end of the run. It'll be a first down.
That's Ray Rice.
Well, let's start off and talk about what really matters, and that's the interception that Joe Flacco throws. He's got good protection. He got all day, and he throws basically into triple coverage. There were 3 Eagles in the middle of that. Now there's Ray Rice, number 27. Oh, and he comes in from behind and runs right into the back and almost looked like he stuck his helmet out and tried to almost a little headbutt. Saw John Harbaugh there trying to get everybody back on the bench.
And by the way, since we've been talking about the turnovers, after a turnover-free opener last week, Baltimore has now turned it over twice today.
Well, that was not a good decision by Joe Flacco. That was throwing into really maximum coverage.
And now a conference on the far side of the field. John Harbaugh, an interested bystander.
You see Robert Frazier talking to the NFL, the extra official on the sideline. He's in contact with the officiating booth upstairs. I'm assuming they're trying to figure out exactly where to spot the football. After you assess the 15-yard penalty on Ray Rice, you got to determine where did that penalty take place? Where was the ball down after Ryans? So they're trying to get this straight.
So here comes Robert Frazier. We'll see if there's any changes to be made. Right now, the ball is at the Baltimore 32.
And now they're really confused. Here comes the NFL, the extra official out on the, and he's getting some help. He's getting the word from upstairs. All right, take a look at it. There's Ryan's interception. He's down at about the 43. I can't tell if he was contacted there or not, but he was blown dead right there. So that's all there is to that. But then the Ray Rice penalty happened up about, it looked like, on the other 47.
Well, they have moved the ball now to the 37. So that is where the Eagles will start. Although we're going to get another conference.
Well, Ray Rice's penalty is a 15-yard penalty. What they're trying to determine is, do we spot it from where D'Amico Ryans went down after the interception, or do we mark it off from the spot of the foul, which was on the other side of the 50? Now they've moved it back, and they're going to do it 15 yards from where D'Amico Ryans went down.
Well, it started at the 32, went back to the 37, now at the 42. And that's where Vick and company will begin. This is McCoy. For no gain.
Well, this is where, over the years, in a situation like this, where there's a little momentum going with the other team, where the Baltimore Ravens defense has consistently made a stand. And that's what they're going to attempt to do right now. But this is as good an opportunity as the Eagles might have for quite a while to get back into this football game. And can Baltimore flush it?
Vick. That's complete inside the 40 to the 37 to Stanley Havili out of the backfield. Albert McClellan drags him down.
And you've got now Philadelphia, the team going without a huddle. As Michael Vick gets his team up to the line of scrimmage and is calling everything out right there. Marty Morningweg, the offensive coordinator.
As far as momentum is concerned, this is a big third down for the Eagles. To the outside, and that's complete. And a first down at the 30 to Deshaun Jackson.
Well, Kerry Williams, these two guys have been at each other's throats earlier in the ball game. Thankfully, we got through that play without anything happening other than Jackson converting the first down. But Michael Vick enjoying good protection. It delivers a really good pass. That's a high percentage pass. And Deshaun Jackson pulls it in.
From the 30, here's McCoy. Workhorse today. Inside the 25 to the 21-yard line. Ray Lewis with the tackle. And we have an Eagle down on the field at the 27-yard line. That is the center, Jason Kelsey.
Oh, and this is not good for the Eagles. Kelsey started every game as a rookie last year. He'll be hard to replace.
Jason Kelsey is at the center of that group. There he is right there with the great beard. And the injury did not look good. We'll get back to that in a moment. Dallas Reynolds has replaced him, and Sean McCoy is knocked down by James Ahedibo. Let's go back to the injury to Kelsey.
Well, Kelsey's number 62 there on the left of your screen. If you're a little squeamish, don't look at Ed Reed. In trying to tackle LaShawn McCoy, misses McCoy and collapses the right knee of Jason Kelsey. And a knee wasn't meant to bend that much. No use speculating on what might happen, but that was gruesome.
Dallas Reynolds, his replacement, is a first-year man out of BYU. Vick on the move. Throwing, wide open in the end zone, caught for a touchdown by Jackson.
I think it's Jeremy Maclin. It's Jeremy Maclin, and somehow, Greg, how could he possibly be all by himself? He's the only player in the end zone. The Michael Vick rollout sucks up the entire Baltimore defense.
His first catch of the day.
Now, they're going to want to take a good look at this. Did he completely corral this football and control it? Yes, he does. Does he get possession? The knees down, and he's got good, solid control of the football. What a great play by Jeremy Maclin. And it was the threat of Michael Vick running that completely broke down the Ravens defense.
John Harbaugh trying to figure out what went wrong. The Eagles are back in this game. We mentioned the Baltimore Ravens have turned the ball over twice, and the Eagles have turned those turnovers into 14 points. 17-14 Ravens. Deontay Thompson will not return this one, and the Ravens will start from their own 20-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, Jeremy Maclin is split out to the left. He's up here at the top. This is Kerry Williams. Now here's Ed Reed. Watch Williams. He's going to let Maclin go, and he thinks he's got safety help over the top. Okay? But here comes Ed Reed coming up to defend Michael Vick running, and then the two of them can do nothing but turn and look over their shoulder. See, here's Ed Reed. Now he starts to drop, but now he's going to come up and play Michael Vick. And he and Kerry Williams both become spectators on Jeremy Maclin's touchdown.
Yeah, that's what the running threat of Michael Vick will do to you.
Yep, you're right.
Flacco rolling, looking, throwing, and incomplete. Ed Dixon, his intended receiver. Flacco gets up off the turf at the 15.
Well, he didn't exactly bounce up off the turf. Joe Flacco being chased here coming from behind. You can see that's Brandon Graham, the number 1 draft choice of a couple years ago. And he drags Flacco down, and Joe his ribs landed right on top of Graham.
Flacco, one of his last 4 completions. Throwing. Bernard Pierce in the backfield. Flacco going to go down the far sideline, incomplete.
Boy, there was a lot of contact there, wasn't there? Joe Flacco's going. Dominic Rogers Cromartie, he's locked up on Torrey Smith the way they've been all. Well, that's okay. How do you not call defensive holding? How do you not call defensive holding? He was pulling Torrey Smith's jersey off.
Well, John Harbaugh was striding step for step with the officials, too.
Wow.
3rd and 10.
That's a bad miss. That's a bad miss. I'm not talking about Joe Flacco. I'm talking about the official.
Eagles fans back into this game. The blitz, throw this side incomplete.
Well, that delayed blitz from the Eagles didn't get there in time, and normally that spells trouble for a defense. But Flacco working the other side of the field. Luckily, the Eagles defenders had tight coverage on the other side of the field.
So DeMaurice Johnson will drop back for the punt. High floater from Cook. From the 33. Not much there for DeMaurice Johnson. But the Eagles get the ball back, and Michael Vick in the offense with a chance now to tie, maybe even go ahead. It's 17-14 Baltimore. Tonight on 60 Minutes, Super Agent Drew Rosenhaus represents the NFL's biggest stars. His story, plus British singer Adele on 60 Minutes tonight. Only CBS.
Do you have Adele on your iPod?
I do not.
Don't you really? You heathen. Really?
Hey, you asked me and I told you.
She's gifted.
Yes, she is. From the 35-yard line. This is McCoy trying to turn the corner, and he won't be able to do it. Run out of bounds at the 32.5-yard line. JB and Dan Marino in our studios in New York.
Arizona on top of New England.
Oh, yeah, and after a New England block punt, Kevin Cobb 2 yards out to Andre Roberts. He goes in for the touchdown, putting Arizona over New England 13-9.
Greg does have quite a few artists on his iPod, though, Dan. Back to Greg and Dan.
I'm telling you, JB, really, I'm starting to worry about it.
That's King Dunlap limping.
Well, that's
field.
King Dunlap, of course, as everyone who loves the Eagles knows, he's replacing Jason Peters, the all-pro left tackle who damaged his Achilles in the offseason.
So they say he is on the road to recovery.
They're being around the Eagles, I mean, they're actually making it sound like that he's got a real recovery coming. Looks like Demetrius Bell is going to be the next guy up, which now makes it Bell now becomes, in reality, the third left tackle for the Eagles, and we're only in the second game of the season. King Dunlap is a big guy. Listed at 6'9", Andy says, I think he's really 6'10".
Second and 12.
Demetrius Bell is set up in the backfield. He is so far up the nice chin.
Mike Vick, straight drop. All kinds of time. Throws out here to a wide open Brent Selleck. Selleck to midfield. Leaps over a tackler and out of bounds inside the 45-yard line.
Well, Brent Selleck goes full Ronaldo Nehemiah.
We have another Eagle down.
That's going to be Ed Reed, I think, that he hurdles. And Ed doesn't wrap up, but Ed's not exactly low. It's not like Ed goes to the ground or something. That is some tremendous elevation by Brent Selleck.
Brent Selleck is 6'4", 255.
I guarantee you Ed Reed is amazed that he came up with nothing but air.
And that is Jeremy Maclin on the turf, just short of midfield.
And he had the hip pointer injury that he's playing through today in pain.
We'll check on him when we come back. 9:37 to play here in the third quarter. Jeremy Maclin walked to the sidelines. They're a little bit on the shaky side. Meanwhile, first down at the 43 for Vic and the Eagles. And Vic to throw. Under pressure. That's a loose ball. And now ruled incomplete.
Well, there's a late whistle. You saw. That play,
clearly a forward pass.
That play is over. Oh, it hits, bounces off one of the players, but the second it touches the ground, it's over. That's a forward pass. That's Haloti Ngata coming in from behind, and it's Kimoyatu who gets the right hand on the ball. Now it does go ahead and bounce off a bell, but when it hits the ground, the whistle's got to start blowing.
This is LaShawn McCoy to the 40. And that's going to set up a third and about 7.
Well, 5 total turnovers in this game. 2 for Baltimore, 3 for Andy Reid's Eagles. And that's what keeps it close. Even though time of possession, as you see, way in favor of the Eagles. They've dominated keeping the ball.
Vic pulls it down, now throws sideline, complete. That'll be a first down at about the 27-yard line. DeMorris Johnson.
Yeah, getting some production from the rookie from Tulsa. And again, Michael Vick enjoys some pretty good pass protection here. Anytime you can go ahead and take a full delivery and pull it back down and then go back up again. Well, there's the free agent working against the Ravens, the former number 1 pick last year, Jimmy Smith. But again, that was because of outstanding pass protection.
Eagles, new set of downs at the Ravens 27.
White 90.
McCoy to the 22.
No, but that's the kind of production you're looking for on first down. That makes all the play calling a lot easier when you get that kind of a surge and pick up a good 5 yards on first down. Any coordinator in the game will tell you on both sides of the ball, that's called winning first down.
White 90. What is it?
Vick, quarterback draw, trying to get outside, turns the corner, out of bounds inside the 15. That's the first down.
Well, it's situations like that where when you spend enough time looking at him in the pocket, you're reminded that really is Michael Vick. The ability to take a completely looked like a busted play or something that broke down and turn it into a first down. Dunlop walking gingerly. Yeah, not very, that's not a real optimistic gait he's got going on.
The Eagles now from the 14. McCoy. Make it Bryce Brown, the rookie.
Ladarius Webb with another good tackle. I'm telling you what, this guy will give cover corners a bad name because he'll come up and he'll hit you. Don't call him a cover corner. I mean, his pass coverage skills are good, but you got to love the way he supports the run.
McCoy now back into the lineup. Eagles knocking on the door. They're at the 11, 2nd and 7. Vick almost picked off by Albert McClellan.
Albert McClellan is kicking himself right now. He's got coverage on Selleck all the way. Did a great job of standing Selleck up at the line of scrimmage. That's called not giving a guy a release. I'd like to say he was close to catching that, but I don't think so. And he was so in front of that ball, it fooled Selleck. The ball hit Selleck in the midsection.
3rd and 7. Vick passing up the middle, diving inside the 5, looking for a first down. Looks to be about a yard shy.
Saw Ray Lewis pointing at the 5-yard line, saying that's where he went down. Right, he's still pleading. He's working the officials, and that's where they spot it, right at the 5-yard. Well, just the nose of it, just a little bit. Well, it keeps getting better.
The players, of course, want to go for it. Andy Reid has the challenge flag out, and he's going to toss it.
You can challenge the spot in relation to a first down. Right now, Baltimore is very conservative. They're not selling out on the pass rush. They're reading and reacting.
Philadelphia is challenging the spot on the field.
At first glance, that looks like a pretty good spot. Where is Michael Vick? Down by contact. You can't see the football. That's the only problem.
The view is blocked.
Yes.
By Donnell Ellerby, number 59.
He takes a couple bounces to end up where he ends up. This is going to give us maybe our best look. All right, the football looks like it's about halfway between the 5 and the 4-yard line.
The spot is not that generous. The spot makes it closer to the 5-yard line.
It looks to me like, I'm going to just shoot from the head. It looks to me like the ball should be maybe a foot closer to the goal line from where it is now. Let's look at it one more time and see where Michael Vick comes down, where his elbow and the ball, right there, they're on the ground. That looks to me to be about maybe just a smidge more than halfway between the
4.5-yard line.
Yeah, that would be a fair spot.
Either way, the Eagles do not appear to have enough for the first down.
No, it looks like you had to get all the way to the 4 for it to be a first down. But I'd say you move it forward at least the length of a football and a half.
Right now they're about the 4 3/4. So Robert Frazier has seen what he needs to see. And now let's hear what he has to say.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner's forward progress was a 5-yard line. It will be a first down at the 5-yard line. Philadelphia is charged a team timeout.
Well, they're not going to move the football at all. They're going to say that was an accurate spot at the 5-yard line. It sure looks like he's past the 5-yard line. Now, any way you look at it, he was not far enough where it was going to be a first down.
Now, that is not a first down. This is fourth down.
No, and
the field goal unit is on the field.
And even the most generous spot they would have gotten wouldn't have been a first down.
So this will be Alex Henry from 23 yards out. And this game is tied. As in a lot of sports, football can be a game of inches. Michael Vick short of the first down. They settle for 3. That is Michael Vick, and he has persevered even as his offensive line begins to dwindle in front of him. Jason Kelsey is out with the knee injury. King Dunlap has suffered a hamstring injury. Deontay Thompson will not get a chance to return this one.
Well, and Greg, the point you made about the Eagles and their offensive line is simply this. They only dressed 7 offensive linemen today. They're now out.
Hey, coming up next, doubleheader Sunday here on CBS. Mark Sanchez, Tim Tebow, the New York Jets taking on Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers, or the Tennessee Titans out west against the San Diego Chargers. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Well, the Ravens have not really run their up-tempo, no-huddle barely at all today. And you got to wonder if this isn't a time to try to kickstart things here in a tied game late in the third quarter.
The toss for Rice, right side, out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. And that man, Michael Kendricks, again, in on the tackle.
Now they're going, well, they're actually going to go back and muddle huddle. They're in no big rush to get this thing going.
Ravens came up big in the second half of their opener against Cincinnati. They've been held scoreless here in the second half so far today. This is Rice to the 27. Jason Babin with the stop.
And Babin is still down.
And we're going to get a timeout as they look at number 93. This has been a tough game.
No, we talked in the first half about this being big boy football. The old days we'd say this was bring an extra chin strap type of game. These two have taken it to each other. You really wouldn't expect anything else.
Coming from a John Harbaugh coach team or an Andy Reid coach team.
Well, there's a good sign for Eagles fans that Jason Babin is able to jog off. This guy crashes the edge. 18 sacks last year. That's a lot of production.
Philip Hunt goes in at defensive end for the Eagles to replace Babin. 3rd and 2.
I guarantee you, Assembly, the right tackle, is pleased with that little change.
Flacco throwing this side, incomplete. Pass intended for Ed Dixon. Well covered by Nate Allen.
And Juan Castillo, the defensive coordinator, he's justifiably so cheering his guys on. Let's look at it right from behind Joe Flacco. And he couldn't step into it, but still, he really had nowhere to go with that. Nate Allen had tremendous coverage.
And now Sam Cook to kick it away again to DeMorris Johnson. From the 20. Spun down at the 24-yard line. And once again, Brendan Ayanbadejo on the special team stop.
Oh, and now we've got Jameel McClain. Can't get up. The other starting jack linebacker for the Ravens. And boy, this game is taking a toll. Well, there's King Dunlap. He's headed up the tunnel back into the Eagles locker room. I guess Dunlap's got a hamstring. We're not sure if Jeremy Maclin re-injured the hip pointer problem that he came into this game with, that he suffered last week.
And they continue to check out Jameel McClain, the 5th-year linebacker out of Syracuse.
Well, there's some signs of optimism there.
Meanwhile, that's Jason Babin.
Looks like they're working on his hip. Shake it off, big guy. Merely a fleshman.
Yeah, that's easier said than done.
It's real easy from here.
Walk it off. So here are the Eagles tied at 17 from their own 24. Here comes the blitz. And down goes Vick.
Well, when you've got an offensive line that's got substitutions, throw some blitzes at them and throw the crossing blitz up the middle, which is the hardest thing for an offensive line to pick up. Ray Lewis crashes to the inside, then Ellerby loops around to the outside. You've got a new center, you got a new left tackle, and that is the hardest blitz for an offensive line to pick up. And Michael Vick, as you can see, is just fighting for his life, trying not to get hurt.
Vick sets it up for McCoy. McCoy dancing, trying to break free, can't. Goes down at the 19. Ray Lewis.
Well, good job by the Ravens defense with all the flow going the other direction with the screen to the left. When the play broke back to the right, there were still some people there willing to defend their side of the field. That is a lot. That takes a big toll on a quarterback.
Vick with time this time. And to the near side to McCoy and out of bounds. Well, short of the 25.
Sure, Baltimore just concedes that. That's no big deal. Go ahead and complete that pass. All that's going to do is bring your punting unit out on the field. We'll give it to you.
Got a kick out of talking with Ray Lewis yesterday, talking about the new defensive coordinator, Dean Pease. He says, we're tweaking things, and he's getting the idea of what we want to do as a defense.
Well, when you got Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and guys like that, they have an opinion. They know what works, and you know what? We talked to Dean Pease. He said, I want to hear it.
Jacoby Jones, a chance to run this one back from his own 34. Across the 40 to about the 41-yard line. Wednesday in prime time, JB, Chris Collinsworth, Phil Simms bring you their unique view of America's Sunday pastime you won't find anyplace else. It's Inside the NFL Wednesday on Showtime. Well, 2.5 minutes thereabouts remain to be played here in the third quarter, and this, Dan, begins to look a lot like a war of attrition.
Well, let's put it this way. This is good starting field position for Baltimore. When you can start at your own 41-yard line in a tied football game, you don't have a right to expect much better than this. Can they do something with it? That's the key.
Eagle fans exhorting their defense. Flacco trying to set up the screen.
Joe just threw that away.
Yep, saw it wasn't going to work and threw it at the feet of Ray Rice. 2nd and 10.
Not only was the rush on Flacco quicker than they wanted, he saw Rice was covered. That screen was completely blown up by the Eagles defense.
And by the way, in the second half here, the Ravens in 3 possessions, an interception, and 2 punts. Rice. Close to midfield, the ball will be spotted at the 49 of the Ravens.
Like a couple times that we saw in the first half, that's about the first time I've seen it in the second half, where Ray Rice really gets some great blocking up front. Take a look at that. Yonda and Burke, Michael Orr with a good seal block on the backside. Ramon Harewood. Now he saw some of that in the first half, not so much here in the second.
We're under 2 minutes to play here in the third.
Ray Rice closing in on 100 yards.
Flacco throwing this side, incomplete. Anquan Bolden well covered on the play.
Well, Brandon Boykin, the rookie nickelback, that time all over Bolden. And that is a lot of responsibility for a rookie to be the guy that more often than not is working the receiver in the slot.
That is the third straight 3 and out.
There's a lot going on in there, and the Eagles could not be happier than they are with Brandon Boykin.
DeMaurice Johnson back inside his own 10. Cook. Fair catch is called for and made at the 9-yard line. Minute 36 to play here in the third quarter. Look at some numbers so far. Throwing the football, Vick up to 235 on the day. each quarterback, a touchdown and an interception on the afternoon. 95 yards rushing for Ray Rice, 65 for McCoy. And do the tight ends still rule the roost? They do.
Well, the impressive thing for Ray Rice is 95 yards on 10 carries. He's knocking it off at 9.5 yards a carry. That's exceptional.
Jeremy Maclin is back into the game. He's flanked to the top of your screen. First down, Eagles from their own 9. And this is LaShawn McCoy with a hole off the right side and out to the 15-yard line.
I think the Ravens thought that he was going to try to bust it all the way to the outside, and you see Ray Lewis, he over-pursues the play, and Todd Harrimans takes him out of it. Harrimans with a good block on Lewis, and then McCoy cuts it back to the inside. A little over-pursuit that time by the Ravens defensively.
2nd and 4. McCoy once again. And to about the 16. Dan, we've always talked about the timing that an offensive line needs to work together. I would assume injuries really begin to take a toll on that timing.
Well, absolutely. And then we see right now we got a holding call against the Eagles, but absolutely, and especially when it starts in the middle, when you lose your center. And then what's next? Your left tackle. Maybe the two most critical positions on your offensive line. That time, Demetrius Bell, the left tackle, gets flagged for a hold. And he's a replacement. And again, these are the only 5 healthy offensive linemen right now that the Eagles have dressed for the game today.
Line of scrimmage now back at the 5-yard line. And the conversation. It's not going to be the 5.
Once again, the officials are struggling where to spot the ball.
It'll be about the 8. 7.5. So a 2nd and 11 for Vic. Straight drop. With time. Gonna go deep. Down the near sideline. What a catch by Deshaun Jackson.
And the last 4 steps that Deshaun Jackson took, he knew he was going to get buried by the safety coming across. He knows it, he sees it, but he catches it anyway. Ed Reed puts one on him. Jimmy Smith is underneath. Does he control this ball all the way down? Yes, he does. He's got it underneath his hands. I'm telling you what a tremendous play by Deshaun Jackson, because he knew that train was headed straight for him.
50 yards. Eagles' longest of the season. First down. And a whistle.
Timeout. Philadelphia.
So the Eagles use a timeout. That's their 2nd. Let's go back to that play.
Let's look at it one more time. A perfect throw from Michael Vick. Jimmy Smith can't reach it. And there's no way that Deshaun Jackson wasn't aware of Ed Reed coming right at him like that. You know, at first glance, it looks like that ball's coming out, but he's firmly got it in his control, in my estimation. That's the one thing about the Eagles taking a timeout. They've given replay a lot more opportunity to take a look at this. But I think he secures it. He's down in the field of play. He's got the football before he goes out of bounds. But just what a study in courage by Deshaun Jackson, knowing he was going to get hit big time.
Baltimore allowed 193 yards passing last week. Philly's up to 270. There's a tipping interception.
Ed Reed. Why do footballs just fly to Ed Reed? You'd think they could bounce off a building and still carry them towards Ed Reed. Michael Vick enjoying good protection. and he's trying to find Brett Selleck, and it goes right off Selleck's hands. Now Selleck is covered pretty darn well by Ray Lewis. And Ray Lewis makes it tough for Selleck to come down with the football. But once again, something the Baltimore fans have been watching for 11 years, the ball just magically goes right to Ed Reed.
Career interception number 59 for Ed Reed.
And turnover number 4 for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Flacco, straight drop, with time, gonna go deep, wide open. And caught inside the 25-yard line by Torrey Smith.
Well, that matchup we've been looking at all day with Torrey Smith and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. Cromartie loses Smith. You can see, I don't know what happened. He just got away from running with him. Let's look at this. Does this ball hit the ground?
That's the end of the third quarter.
No, it does not.
And with that, we come to the end of the third quarter. Baltimore 17, Eagles 17. What a fourth this is going to be.
We're back in Philadelphia. Look what Torrey Smith has to do to get this football. You know, there's a look over his right shoulder. There's a look over his left shoulder. Now he's got a pirouette back to the inside. That was no simple slant pattern. Torrey Smith had to work his butt off to get that thing.
On first down, this is Ray Rice stacked up back at the 28-yard line.
Ray just ran into the back of his own blocker and lost his footing. The Ravens went with a jumbo formation. They're bringing in Bryant McKinney, the backup offensive tackle, to play tight end, and they're going to run to that side. They're going to play a little power football. Ray Rice just ran right into his blocker.
That head you see towering above the rest belongs to Bryant McKinney, 6'8", 354. Second and 13. Flacco on the move. Penalty marker is down in the secondary, and that's incomplete.
The Ravens stayed in the jumbo formation and ran away from it, kind of going against the tendency. You think you're going to run with the big guys in there. The Eagles had none of it, though. Cromartie is... he appears to be accepting responsibility.
Illegal contact by the defense, number 23. The 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
All right, again, working on Torrey Smith. And you're allowed to ride him for 5 yards. That was closer to 25 yards.
Maybe he thought 5 yards at a time.
Well, you know what? I think these guys are going to play rough and tough in the secondary until the flags start flying.
Well, other than the personal fouls that have been called, there haven't been many other kinds of fouls.
We've had a total of six. We've had a total of 6 penalties called in this game. We had a couple offsetting.
Rice. And again, some shoving at the 20-yard line. Monte Leach in there.
Yeah, this is, and there's Coleman pulling Leach off the pile. I think the umpire is saying, mind your own business, stay out of there. Neil Hawkins is our umpire today, and he's a pretty good-sized guy.
Kurt Coleman has been involved, to say the least, today.
He's feisty. Remember Kurt Coleman, he got his helmet knocked off last week. Collision with Brent Richardson.
Second and 7. To the 21.
I watched the tape of that. In his own defense, the helmet was half off by the time he made contact with Richard. It was on the verge of falling off anyway. But it made for some highlight. Fletcher Cox, the Eagles' #1 draft pick this year. You always like to see your #1 out on the field.
Baltimore 1 out of 8 on third down today. And the Philly defense has been good on third down this season. 3rd and 8. Flacco under pressure throws. That's caught. We have a flag in the backfield. And Torrey Smith pulled it in. And now let's check the flag.
Well, the flag, I think, was thrown by the umpire back behind the line of scrimmage. That's normally not good news for an offensive lineman.
by the offense. Number 77, 10-yard penalty, still third down.
That's the veteran center, Matt Burke.
The pride of Harvard, 36 years old, still getting it done in the middle. There he is in the. Yep, you can see he's grabbing the jersey of Fletcher Cox, the #1 draft pick we just talked about. And boy, that's really an invitation. When you see the jersey stretched like that, you know, sometimes it's inadvertent, but you got to let it go. You got to disengage your hand immediately.
And that could be a really costly penalty to the offense. 3rd and 18.
We're looking at about a 50-yard field goal from here, 49 or so.
Flacco going to go for it all to the end zone. It is incomplete. Penalty marker down again.
Well, I think Kurt Coleman, I think he grabbed Jacoby Jones.
This is going to be a roughing the passer call against the Eagles.
Well, look at, well, I'm sorry, it was Asamoah, not Coleman. But that, apparently, there's a flag inside the 10. Well, and there's Joe Flacco getting hit low. That's Jason Babin. It was Asamoah who did the grab down around the 10-yard line.
There were 2 fouls in the play. Illegal contact, number 24 by the defense. Penalty decline. Personal foul, number 93, defense. 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
So they did get the call against Asamoah.
Although they called it illegal contact. If the ball's in the air, that's got to be interference, which means it's at the spot of the foul.
Instead, they're going to march it off 15 yards, but here's the play.
Now, is the ball in the air right there? I can't tell. I would think it had to be in the air by that time. You don't ever, you don't see illegal contact. That appeared to be interference to me.
The line of scrimmage is now the 16-yard line. Only the Ravens' second red zone trip of the day. First down. Rice diving to the 15. D'Amico Ryans with the tackle.
I know D'Amico Ryans here in Philadelphia was taking some grief from Eagles fans during the preseason that maybe he wasn't worth the trade. But folks, I've been covering this guy ever since he came into the league from Alabama. He is the real deal, not just in production on the field, in the locker room, from a leadership standpoint. D'Amico Ryans makes any team better.
Defensive coordinator Juan Castillo couldn't be happier to have it. 2nd and 9. Flacco under pressure, throwing. Incomplete, just overthrew Dennis Pitta.
Oh, and
Flacco's on the deck.
And he had Pitta too. Pitta had a step on Nate Allen. Joe, under duress, just couldn't deliver the ball where he wanted it. You can see he couldn't step into it. He's falling backwards. He's getting hit by Landry. Yeah, you got to give Derek Landry the credit there. Joe Flacco, if Flacco could have stepped into that, if he could have at least planted his feet, chances are that would have been a touchdown pass.
3rd and 9. And we get a whistle and a flag.
Did we get delay?
Delay game by the offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Because of Joe being on the ground and taking a while to get up, that play clock starts running.
So now it's a 3rd and 14.
We want to see a couple guys in track stances. Take a look at Jason Babbitt and Trent Cole.
Flacco just 3 out of 13 throwing here in the second half.
They're going to look like Usain Bolt getting ready to go.
Flacco on the move, getting chased down at the 33-yard line by D'Amico Ryans.
Glad you got him now, aren't you, Philadelphia? The blitz gets picked up pretty good in the middle, but then Ray Rice is not able to hold out D'Amico Ryans. He's Ray Rice's responsibility coming off the edge, and Rice puts a shoulder into him, but that's about all. He gives the soft corner to Ryans, and he takes advantage of it.
Justin Tucker, who was good from 56 yards earlier in the game, from 51 yards out for the lead. On its way. And perfect. 11:28 to play in the fourth. Baltimore by 3. Justin Tucker, a 56-yard field goal earlier, and now a 51-yarder for the Ravens to go up 20-17 with just under 11 and a half to play here in the fourth quarter.
His Ravens career starts out with him being 5 for 5 on field goals so far.
That's not bad.
2 of them over 50. Pretty decent start.
Brandon Boykin is deep. This one will bounce. Boykin at the goal line. Boykin shifting across the 25 and knocked back to the 25 by Sean Considine. And onto the field comes Vic and the offense. And for another update, JB and Dan in New York.
Giants have battled back, Dan.
Oh, no doubt Eli Manning steps up in the pocket there. He's looking for Victor Cruz down the sidelines, wide open. Great throw and catch. He goes 80 yards for the score, and they also convert to 2-point conversion. Tie the game, 27-27.
6:48 left in regulation. Greg and Dan.
Well, Giant fans would not take too kindly to losing that game. Vic over the middle, across the 40-yard line and complete to Jason Avant.
Jason Avant has come up with a couple good plays for the Eagles today. Michael Vick again double clutches, and in a ball that's kind of low and behind him, Avant does a good job of sliding down and making the catch. And once again, Michael Vick hits it pretty hard.
McCoy, lots of running room right up the middle. Across midfield to the 45 of the Ravens.
Well, you can always tell when you got a good backside seal on the run game when a running back can cut into a hole like that. And that's just a breakdown and an over pursuit by the Ravens defense. I mean, Ray Lewis had over pursued to play, and then Arthur Jones on the backside was at least 5 yards away.
McCoy coming this way, goes the other way. And down at the 42. We have two of the quicker backs in the NFL in this game.
Well, we really do, but LaShawn McCoy is the one so far that's been making the most people miss. I mean, his change of direction, his ability to reverse field in a short period of time is pretty special.
The Eagles up to 411 total yards today after tallying 456 last week. Penalty marker down.
That'll be holding again.
Vic trying to avoid. He got rid of it.
Well,
just as he went to the ground.
Michael Vick, you can't get your body contorted like you're going to get. Man.
Broken in half.
Really? You got people hanging on your legs and I know, God love you for trying to make a play.
59. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's Evan Mathis, guilty of the hold.
And holding calls have been a problem for the Eagles in these first two games, but you know, look at Michael Vick. Now, he's really trying to make a play here. McClellan's got him. But, you know, you are now being bent over. Well, when you're a great athlete, you feel like you can make a play until every inch of you is on the ground.
Second and long yardage. And we have a challenge thrown by John Harbaugh. And Robert Frazier is going to go check it out with Coach Harbaugh.
Baltimore is challenging that the runner's knee was down prior to the throwing of the pass.
So let's go back and take a look for ourselves. This is what they'll be looking at.
I'm not sure it was.
Well, Robert Frazier has seen what he needs to see. You take a look.
Well, by all our angles, Michael Vick is off the ground when he gets rid of the football.
The ruling on the field stands. The player was up. Baltimore will be charged. A first team timeout.
John Harbaugh
Make
was
that their
trying to
second
pick up
timeout.
the yardage, trying to convert that incomplete pass into a sack. But there was no doubt in looking at it, it was pretty conclusive that no part of Michael Vick was on the ground before he released that ball.
Along with our producer, Mark Wolf, our director, Bob Fishman, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, here in Philadelphia. It was a 17-7 lead at halftime for Baltimore. The Eagles came charging back to tie it at 17 apiece. And then Justin Tucker's 51-yard field goal just minutes ago gave the Ravens a 20-17 lead. We have 9:44 to play here in the fourth quarter. It has been a tough, hard-hitting game.
And now the officials again, a delay in putting the ball in play. Again, they're trying to figure out, I'm assuming exactly where the spot was. On the previous play, the sticks should tell them.
By our read, it's 2nd and 17. And Vick needs the 35-yard line for a first down. The line of scrimmage is the Philadelphia 48.
Justin Tucker, the Ravens kicker that's done so well.
Baltimore gets charged with a timeout. Vick. Under pressure. Got hit as he released. Incomplete.
And hit hard by Pernell McPhee. And hit really hard. And Michael in no position to defend himself. He's got his back to McPhee as he's coming in, and here comes McPhee, and Michael once again goes down hard. And for those of you just joining us, Michael Vick has been in this position all day. He has taken a real beating today.
3rd and 17. Vick, far side of the field, incomplete. Intended for Deshaun Jackson, and Jimmy Smith was covered.
Well, give Jimmy Smith credit for this. He's given ground. He's reading the quarterback. He's looking inside. And he closes and charges on the ball. That had no chance of being a completion. And then at the very end, smart play by Jameel McLean, a bit pulling up, showing the officials his hands, that he didn't really strike a forcible blow on Michael Vick.
Ladarius Webb back at his own 10 for the upcoming punt from Chaz Henry. Fair catch called for, and the diving catch is made at about the 22-yard line.
Not a very good punt.
9:26 to play in the fourth quarter. The Ravens with the ball in a 3-point lead. From Philadelphia, just under 9.5 to play here in the fourth quarter. Baltimore, 10 points off 4 turnovers. The Eagles, 14 points off 2 Ravens turnovers. And Joe Flacco, one of his last 9 passes complete. That one for 40 yards. From the 22. Flacco to throw. Plenty of time. Down the middle of the field. Incomplete. Torrey Smith with defenders on each side of it.
Yeah, really. I think Joe intentionally threw that so deep. Cromartie and Coleman were just side by side with Torrey Smith. I mean, that's an interception waiting to happen if Joe doesn't throw this ball as far as he does. That would have been a miracle completion to Torrey Smith. you got to think that's a semi-throwaway from Joe Flacco.
2nd and 10.
Hey, watch the middle. Yeah, middle.
Rice. And D'Amico Ryan.
And I tell you, as this game is worn on here in the second half, yards are tough to come by. The two defenses have really started to assert themselves. And you have had to claw and scratch for every little piece of turf that you're picking up.
Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf here in Philadelphia. Those of you just joining us, welcome. Coming up on 8:45 to play in the fourth. Baltimore with a 3-point lead, but looking at a 3rd and 7 from their own 25. Joe Flacco running out of time. Throws out here, complete to Rice, room to run, and takes on a tackler. Number 42, Kurt Coleman. And that's a first down.
Kurt Coleman had a dangerous encounter with Trent Richardson last week, and now it's Ray Rice who dips his shoulder and lets him have it. Unfortunately for Philadelphia, they lose complete track of Ray Rice, who's such a great outlet. They lost him.
And now Rice again to the 40. Also, if you're just joining us, this game has been chippy, to say the least. We've had a few.
Well, we had some offsetting personal fouls in the first half. A couple instances where it was very close to boiling over to the point where punches were going to start flying. We thought it was over for a while, and then it flared back up in the third quarter.
Second and 7 now. Flacco throwing, incomplete and close to being intercepted.
I'll tell you, Michael Kendricks, the rookie linebacker, their second-round pick out of Cal, man, has he been active today. He has been all over the field. This guy covers a lot of ground, and you could see that Joe Flacco wasn't expect him to being able to close back to the inside as he's trying to get the ball into Dennis Pitta. There's a lot to like about that rookie.
Flacco not nearly as effective here in the second half. Baltimore 2 out of 10 on 3rd down. Three for 11. Rice inside the 30, inside the 25. A huge gain for the Ravens.
At first glance, this looks like a dead play because there's an Eagle coming right at Joe Flacco, unblocked. But it doesn't make any difference. He gets rid of it so quickly. And again, the Eagles' defense completely loses track of Ray Rice. So you see this blitz coming in, but they let the inside guy go. You don't do that. You can't let Fletcher Cox run right at your quarterback. But man, did that work out for the Ravens that Ray Rice was there all alone.
147 total yards today for Ray Rice. This is Bernard Pierce. And Pierce.
D'Amico Ryans, I'm serious now, Greg. You can't be playing a much better half than he's had here in the second half of this game. He has been just everywhere for the Eagles defense.
Clock continues to move, coming up on 6.5 to play.
Right there in the middle. But just look at him. Look how patient he is. And then when it's time to get upfield, drives right through the ball carrier. Pierce didn't have a chance.
Pierce still in the backfield on 2nd and 12. Pierce with the handoff. Going nowhere at the 25. That charge led by Brandon Graham.
And the Eagles with a wholesale substitution defensively as they bring in 6 different people this time.
Jets, Steelers, Titans, Chargers still to come here on CBS. Coming up on 5:45 to play. 3rd and 12. Flacco hit from behind as he let it go. The pass is caught in the end zone by Jacoby Jones.
Well, where are the officials? The official who was working at the call right there, you see him standing at the pylon. Instead of making, he immediately turns and runs back upfield. He throws out his beanbag right there.
Here's Robert Frazier.
And that's
number
why.
12. 15 yards from the previous spot. Third down.
The call is on Jacoby Jones.
I'm assuming he threw his beanbag because he couldn't find his flag.
Need to color those beanbags yellow.
Let's take a look at it. Right there you can see, I mean, there's a lot of hand fighting going on between both of them. Asamoah did not know where the football was, which is the death knell of a cornerback. But they get Jones for shoving off.
3rd and 22.
Sure, there are a lot of Ravens fans right now going, what?
Yeah. And we get a timeout called and another officials conference.
I'm not sure they spotted the ball in the right place.
Respot the ball to the 35-yard line. It's a 10-yard penalty. Third down.
You can see John Harbaugh, that's not right. And then the NFL, the extra official on the sideline, who's in,
you better get out there.
yeah, in communication with the booth upstairs, actually pushes the official out onto the field. And you're right, says you better get out there.
3rd and 22. Flacco, short pop over the middle, complete to Rice, and Rice to the 30-yard line. And Michael Kendricks with the tackle.
So this is going to be about a 47, 48-yard field goal. As you see, he's already made a 56 and a 51-yarder.
A rookie free agent out of Texas.
And last week in his debut, he was 3 for 3. So this guy has not tasted disappointment so far in the NFL.
This is from 48 yards. Compared to what he's done today, this is kind of a chip shot.
Oh, you just jinxed him for sure.
On its way. And good. Ravens have found themselves a fine young kicker. They extend their lead to 6. 4:43 remaining in regulation here at Lincoln Financial Field. That's Brandon Boykin hoping to get a shot at a return for the Eagles. And he won't get one here. So Philadelphia fans wondering if Michael Vick has another game-winning drive in him this week.
Well, the game-winning drive that Greg refers to was against the Browns last week. 4th and 1, LaShawn McCoy picks up 3 yards to keep that drive alive. Then it's Brent Selleck, good for 17 yards on a 2nd and 10. Now here in the end zone, almost intercepted. Rookie L.J. Ford had his hands on it, but then the very next play, Vick comes back, a 4-yard TD pass to Clay Harbor, and they eke out a 1-point win over the Browns. Does Vick have any magic left for this week?
Both these teams 1-0 on the young season, and here's Vick on 1st down. Near sideline, that is complete and out of bounds at the 33-yard line to Deshaun Jackson. Eagles were turnover prone in the first half and went to the locker room trailing by 10. Came out with a tougher defense in the second half. Pulled into a 17-all tie. 2 field goals for the Ravens has them up 23-17.
Andy Reid could really use Jeremy Maclin here, but he's still out with that hip injury.
Vick down the middle. Selleck pulls it in inside the 45. Brent Selleck has been huge today for the Eagles.
That's his 7th catch, 144 yards rather. I mean, check it out. That is how you go up. You know there's something bad coming your way when you got to stretch out and expose yourself like that. Open up those ribs to a shot.
First down at the Baltimore 42. Vick gonna run it. And out of bounds at the 35.
Crowd not happy that James Ahedebo gave Michael Vick a little shove as he was at the sidelines. But he, that wasn't much. But if he would have shoved him much more and Vick goes toppling over, I've seen it called before, but that didn't deserve it.
This is McCoy. Ducks inside the 35 to the 34. Ray Lewis and Donnell Ellerby combining for the stop there.
Now the Eagles only have one timeout remaining.
Eagles have one, Baltimore has 2. We are under 3.5 to play. 3rd and 2. Vick finds the handle, throws over the middle, Selleck again, inside the 25 to the 21, and a first down.
Well, the Ravens paid a price for their defensive strategy there. They're not even rushing Michael Vick. I mean, you can see bobbles the snap, but they don't even mount much of a pass rush. Vick is able to just stand there, survey the field.
This is McCoy. McCoy, this time tripped up back at the 25-yard line. And that's Courtney Upshaw, the 2nd-round draft pick out of Alabama.
He looks like he hurt his shoulder or his arm or something. He's starting today. Paul Kruger, who normally starts at that outside linebacker, he's got a bad back. He's inactive today. The trainers have been busy.
The walking wounded have been numerous. 2nd and 13. Vick looking, throwing, got his man inside the 10 to the 6. Clay Harbor. It'll be 1st and goal.
There's a flag. There's a flag upfield back at the 37-yard line.
And it's going to be a roughing the passer.
Number 97. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Arthur Jones right there.
And they're going to get Jones for both being late but hitting Michael Vick below the waist.
So half the distance to the goal. The Eagles will be set up 1st and goal at the 3.
This was reminiscent of the first drive of the game where the Eagles drove it all the way down. Then Vick threw an interception in the end zone.
2 minutes to play in Philadelphia. Michael Vick and the Eagles 3 yards away from a tie. And an extra point would give them a 1-point lead over the Baltimore Ravens. We'll be right back. Well, they have done a reversal. It is not the 2-minute warning, at least not yet. They have reset the clock at 2:05. Joe Flacco looks intensely worried. LaShawn McCoy in the backfield with Michael Vick. 1st and goal from the 3. Vick, quarterback draw, up the middle to the 1. We now have our second 2-minute warning of the second half.
Well, let's go back and take a look at the quarterback draw here by Michael Vick, and that's what this is all the way. Keep in mind now the Eagles are down to the only 5 offensive linemen they still have healthy enough to play. Demetris Bell is at the left tackle position, having replaced King Dunlap, who left with a hamstring injury. And then Jason Kelsey, their starting center, their really good second-year center, suffered a pretty good knee injury, and he left, and he's been replaced by Dallas Reynolds. So the 5 offensive linemen are the only 5 Eagles. The next guy up would probably be one of the tight ends, or maybe draft a defensive tackle. I'm not sure where they go.
Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles have been the best in the NFL since 2011 in the last 2 minutes of a half.
Well, they are not in the end zone yet, but to this point,
they're close.
Michael Vick just looking exactly the way he looked in the game-winning drive a week ago against the Browns.
2nd and goal from the 1. Vick rolling, trying to throw. It's incomplete.
Was there a receiver? Was there a receiver? Was that a fumble? Was that intentional grounding? What?
Now they're ruling Baltimore football.
Okay, let's take a look at this. Michael Vick. Haloti Ngata is on him. All right, now, boy, we're going to have to look at this in slow motion. Does Michael Vick, is his hand moving forward?
Sure it is.
Yes.
Sure it is.
That's not a fumble. Boy, geez, where I come from, that looks like a pass to me.
Well, considering that ball ends up downfield from where Michael Vick is, I'd say so.
I mean, there's no doubt that he's getting rid of it. He's trying to avoid the sack by Ngata, but there is a throwing motion that involves the hand going forward, regardless of whether his body is going backwards. But my opinion doesn't count. But that I understand how maybe on the field of play somebody could look at that and maybe in real time rule that a fumble.
I don't.
Well, I'm trying.
I mean, he is back at the 11-yard line, and that ball, with the throwing motion,
he flicks it off. I know, Greg. He flicks it off. I'm not calling it a fumble. It's clearly a forward pass, but the hand motion is going forward. The ball,
and so is the ball.
He flicks it off his wrist, and then the ball goes for it.
I don't see how anyone can not see that as an attempted forward pass.
Well, needless to say, because we're inside the 2-minute warning, that wasn't a situation where Andy Reid or any of the coaches had to challenge it. It's automatically reviewed upstairs and initiated by the replay booth.
And Michael Vick takes yet another shot today. So Robert Frazier has seen what we have seen.
And Robert Frazier, being the referee, is the official who ruled it a fumble.
After further review, there was video evidence that was an incomplete forward pass.
Possibly have been anything else.
The ball will be played at the 1-yard line.
So Robert Frazier was in the unenviable position of having to overturn himself.
Yes.
Now, Greg, you could say maybe he was screened, but hey, at the end, they got it right. Now, granted, we shouldn't have had to go through that, but in the end, we're where we are, 3rd and goal at the 1.
3rd and goal at the 1. LaShawn McCoy in the backfield with Michael Vick, who will operate from the shotgun.
lot of time left on the clock. First of all, we got to negotiate an extra point for the lead, but there's a lot of time on the clock for Joe Flacco and the Baltimore offense.
And Baltimore with 2 timeouts remaining.
So I wouldn't be putting this one in the cash drawer yet if I was an Eagles fan.
Alex Henry for the go-ahead. (24-23) Eagles.
And again, the second time they run just a design quarterback draw, and why not? Why not? Spread the field. You've got to defend. You got to defend both perimeters, and you know there's going to be a crease in there somewhere. Good block by Dallas Reynolds, the backup center, to replace Kelsey. He opened up a pretty nice little hole in there.
Once again, Michael Vick produces at the end of a game.
Well, last week it was a game-winning drive. This week, right now, you can call it a game-leading drive. There's some big strike football in the Baltimore offensive huddle. That's Marty Morningweg, his offensive coordinator. Again, here we are, though, inside 2 minutes of a football game. The Eagles somehow have the lead, and almost an incomprehensible stat. They have turned the ball over 9 times in the last 2 games. 5 last week, 4 this week, and they have a chance of winning them both. One's already been won, and this one they have a chance.
That's Deontay Thompson deep for the Ravens. And he will run this one out. Trying to turn the corner and going to be run out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. So a minute 48 on the clock, and that is Justin Tucker, and he has produced twice from 50-plus yards, from 51 and from 56. This was the 56-yarder. And watch how much this ball clears.
That would have easily been good from 60.
Yeah. So here we go. The Ravens with 2 timeouts. Flacco. This side. Incomplete.
Well, good coverage that time by Brandon Boykin, the rookie. That was, again, I talked earlier about the spot he's in, being the Eagles' nickel back, having to work the slot a lot as that nickel corner. And a rookie from Georgia, 4th-round draft pick. He's got a bright future. Juan Castillo, the defensive coordinator. His stomach's churning.
To a man, the Eagles we talked to vowed they would play better this week than they did in their opener last week. 2nd and 10. Flacco going to loft this one down the middle. It is tipped and incomplete. Passes tipped by Boykin, intended for Jacoby Jones. Brandon Boykin, the rookie, getting a lot of responsibility late in this game.
And Jones, who's got big playability, is limping to the sidelines. But again, double cover. Nate Allen is there. He's underneath, which means Joe can't throw it short.
How about that elevation by Boykin?
Ray Lewis, unfortunately, it's out of his hands right now.
Joe Flacco, 6 out of 20 in the second half. On 3rd and 10, the pass is complete, and that is a first down to Dennis Pitta, out of bounds at about the 32 or 33-yard line.
Good job by Pitta, not only moving the sticks, but then fighting to get out of bounds. Again, when Joe needs something badly, 88 is the guy he's looking for. And that is the way to run right through a tackle.
New set of downs for the Ravens. Flacco, sideline, incomplete. And a penalty marker thrown. Pass intended for Tandon Doss.
Well, Nnamdi Asamoah is the corner over there. He throws back shoulder to Tandon Doss.
Illegal contact by the defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, he's saying that he continued the contact, which he did. Way beyond the 5-yard zone. The contact was never even broken until Doss tried to come back to catch the ball. Again, these two corners, Rogers, Cromartie, and Asamoah, have both. If they were going to err, they were going to err on the side of contact today.
From the 38. Flacco lofting it is incomplete. Ed Dixon, the intended receiver.
And Nate Allen, another one of the Eagle defensive backs with tight coverage.
1:21 to play.
Joe Flacco really good at throwing that seam route right up the field.
Week 2, Dan, this feels like a playoff game.
Oh, it has. These two teams have really beat each other up.
Jacoby Jones back on the field for Baltimore. 2nd and 10, Flacco throws, and that is complete, short of first down yardage to Dennis Pitta. He'll be about 2 yards short of a first down. One minute to play. 3rd and 2. Flacco throws sideline, overthrew his man, Dennis Pitta once again. And the Ravens are looking at a 4th and 2 with 54 seconds to play.
Dennis Pitta was looking for that ball over his left shoulder, and then it went over, and he had to spin all the way around.
Here we go. Flacco for Rice, incomplete.
Ray Rice is a designated receiver all the way, and once again, the rookie Michael Kendricks is in the right place. I know Joe's looking for a flag. There, he was going up for the football. That is not going to happen. And the Eagles defense got it done when they had to. I really didn't think it was possible that a team could turn the football over 9 times in the span of 2 games and win them both.
This will be the Eagles' first 2-0 start since the 2004 season. They went 13-3 that year and got to the Super Bowl. This snap will do it.
Well, I wouldn't be talking Super Bowl, but 2-0 is 2-0. And I still think the Ravens, if they're not the number 1 team in the AFC, they're in the top 2 or 3 for sure.
There's our final score. The Eagles 24, the Ravens 23. Coming up next, doubleheader action. Jets and Steelers, Titans and the Chargers. For Dan Deerdorf, Greg Gumbel, so long from Philly. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47.